how to diffuse power struggles. I'm doing this series on how to navigate relationships and win negotiations because I really want to zone in creating more peace in the world. And we know that in business, we have many relationships. We have relationships within, if we have business partners, if we have team members, of course, clients, suppliers. There is a lot going on when we are in business. And it's very important to know and identify power struggles because they're happening all the time. What is a power struggle? It's a situation in which two or more people or groups compete for control in a particular sphere. And the second definition, which reinforces a situation where two or more people or groups fight to gain dominance over each other. And you would say, well, we're in a civilized world and we evolved so much. Why are you talking about control and dominance? And the truth is that we are wired to survive. And in survival, we need to control where our food comes from, right? And in survival mode, we want to have dominance in a way like I'm going to eat over the situation. So power struggles are very common. They happen in a workplace where an employee doesn't want to do what the boss says and the employee gains control over the boss. It happens with children and parents. The children take power over the parent. It's very common. It's very common. Once I give this awareness to you, you will look around and you will see it everywhere. What causes power struggles? Fear. Fear causes power struggle. That idea that if I'm not in control, I'm not going to survive. That idea that I have to win and the other person has to lose in order for me to survive. There is a quote I found: no power so efficiently robs the mind of all its power of acting and reasoning as fear. Why? Because when we are in a fight or flight mode, when our brain is only focused on survival, the other parts of the brain, like the frontal cortex, they don't have activation because everything is towards the survival. So when we have fear, we are not making the best judgments. Once we know there is a power struggle, then we need to learn to diffuse it. Diffuse it. And I put this here. It's not diffuse, which means disperse, which means sending particles away. Is diffuse, is deactivate, like deactivating the fuse, disarm, lessen. And first is the awareness, as I shared before. Once you have the awareness that you are in a power struggle, then you ask yourself, how can I diffuse it? How can I let go of it? This is the power struggle, when both people pull on the rope and both people want to be right, and believing that there is this win-lose. But I invite you to come from that place of always asking, how can I go towards win-win? What would win look for me? What would win look for the other person? And I'm going to share in other videos how to communicate to overcome the power struggles. But for today, I wanted to give you this representation of what power struggle is. and recognize that it is fear. And in most cases, we cannot control the other person. We can only control ourselves. So in most cases, once we recognize, we have to ask ourselves, what am I afraid of? What am I not wanting to happen? And once you discover what you're afraid of, and I know we're evolved, and I know people that follow me, they are looking towards enlightenment and towards understanding life's mysteries, and we want to understand the other people, and we believe that we can be at peace and we are one. But we all have fears, and it's to give like a little example, we can be afraid to be late. Let's say we have a road rage, right? So we can be afraid to be late somewhere, and then somebody is driving slow in front of us, and we start to have a power struggle with them through the mirror or whatever. And it's a little fear, afraid to be late. So whenever you feel that frustration elevating, you ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And if you say, well, I'm afraid of being late, then you can talk yourself out of that and say, well, you are going to be there when you're going to be there in one piece. So don't worry about it. You can talk yourself out of power struggles. And when we go and talk about the other people, when there is that tug of war, you can just let go of the rope. And by you letting go of the rope, then there is no power struggle, because it takes two to power struggle. And once you elevate your consciousness, once you understand what triggers you, what's not working for you, what you want in the situation, then you let go of the rope and you find a path to a solution that is win-win.